Please take a moment to listen to this disclosure from the Common Ground podcast. The Common Ground podcast is dedicated to exploring commonality among individuals with diverse perspectives. Our guests may present unique worldviews related to health, psychology, and overall well-being. Please note that the Common Ground podcast does not directly promote or endorse any specific ideas, concepts, or actions discussed during our episodes. Listeners are encouraged to approach the information shared with discernment and to consult with their mental and/or physical health providers before making any changes to their health or wellness practices. The views expressed by guests and hosts are their own and do not directly reflect the opinions of the Common Ground podcast. Your well-being is important, and we advocate for informed decision-making. Thanks for listening.
Importance of understanding your love languages. It comes from knowing how to express love and not just how you receive love or, how you feel love. And I think that's a big thing for people, because when you are coming together as one, you have to kind of sit self aside at times and focus on that connection. And I think a lot of times people tend to get settled in how they experience love, and then they get frustrated when their partner doesn't accept it the same way. If that makes sense.
I don't know, maybe it's just frustrating for women as it is for men, but it's like, I feel like we have to, it's a lot of work for us to get to that point where like, we finally figured you out, and now you just changed the game on me. Yeah. So how do you keep, where's the give and take? Where's the
Such a good question.
How do you navigate those times?
For the longest time, I didn't do flowers. And we were talking one day, and she said something about one of her coworkers who had gotten some flowers at school, and it's like they were real pretty. So, okay. I said, well, maybe she liked flowers now, so I made sure it wasn't a holiday like Valentine's. I sent some flowers to the school, and she was like, okay, well. And then she expressed to me, thank you, that was nice. I know I said before that I didn't like flowers, but I think I like them now.
I have people that come to me that, and I don't do like relationship specific coaching, but people come to me, just friends, for advice. I do life coaching. And they'll come to me and they'll be frustrated because they feel like they're walking on eggshells with their partner, because they feel like they're supposed to be able to read their partner's mind. But I think in their partner's mind, if I were to go and ask them, that they would feel that they've articulated this time and time again. Yeah. So, and it really goes back to that, like, okay, so there's a communication barrier here, because one person heard you don't like flowers versus you in this situation picked up on, I'm just going to try it. Like, what's the worst case scenario? She throws them in the garbage and comes back home and says, no, I still don't like flowers. I just thought the other ones were pretty, right?
Welcome to the Common Ground podcast, where stories connect, perspectives collide, and purpose is found in the middle.
Every week, we sit down with unique and inspiring guests that come from all walks of life. People who challenge the status quo, overcome the odds, and live with intentionality.
Whether you're driving to work, on your morning walk, or just looking for that spark to ignite your week, you're in the right place.
Welcome to the Common Ground podcast with your hosts, John Fletcher and Sydney Kirk.
Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Common Ground podcast. Yes, it is your boy, Philly, as always, here on the mic, dropping the dimes. We're just going to have a good day today. I feel it. I feel positivity. I feel good about today. So I am super excited. As always, I have the extravagant, the beautiful, the just out of this world, Miss Sydney with me.
Let's go, Philly.
It is going fantastic. And I want to start real quick by saying two things before we introduce our guest. But as you know, I was married before. But I want to tell you two quick stories that happened. Right before I got divorced, I told my wife that when I die, I want to be buried with all pictures of her. And she was like, wow. I'm shocked because, sometimes that was very sweet. Sometimes you can be very romantic. I was like, well, yeah, I want God to know I was already in hell.
Oh, that's funny.
I got the proof with me. But on a more positive note, my ex-wife, she saw her neighbor kissing his wife goodbye as he went off to work. And she goes, "Why don't you ever do that to me?" She's like, "Why don't you ever do that?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know her that well."
Yeah. I guess that's a good one there.
Good stuff.
Well, we got an action-packed episode for you today. Today we have a 2-for-1 special, so I'm super excited because not only do we have one guest, we have two guests. And so let me introduce them. First, we got Byron, who is a relationship mentor, podcast host, lyricist, and a creative soul who believes that the best marriages are built like the best songs, honest, intentional, and full of rhythm. Margaret is a relationship coach, educator, author, and host of the Beyond I Do podcast. With over 27 years of marriage under her belt, Margaret shares hard-won wisdom with couples who want more than just staying together. They want real friendship, deep respect, and true connection. Together, they are the dynamic duo behind Beyond I Do, a coaching brand and a podcast that helps couples build strong, lasting relationships rooted in friendship. Married for 27 years and still best friends, they blend practical tools with honest stories to help couples reconnect, communicate, and enjoy each other again. When speaking on stage or behind a mic, Margaret and Byron bring warmth, wisdom, and a down-to-earth style that makes audience feel like family. Together, they speak on topics like marriage, mindset, communication, conflict repair, friendship and love, and the small daily habits that create unshakable relationships. It is my honor, it is my pleasure to introduce with you our guests today, Byron and Margaret McKie. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I was right.
Shaking to see it.
Like,
What are you talking about? No, it's good.
I'm excited to meet them.
Yeah.
No, this is going to be such a good one. Thank you so much for being here today. And you guys just celebrated an anniversary recently, too, did you not? So it's now 28 years, correct?
Years.
Yes.
28.
Huge congratulations. That is not a small feat these days by any stretch of the imagination. Take us back to the beginning. How did y'all meet?
Well, it started in 1991. Um, it started as I had detention. So I was a difficult student, but I made it through high school. But I had detention, and a buddy of mine, he had detention with me. So we got dropped off at my house, and he was like, "I'm gonna call my friend Margaret." I was like, "Okay." So buddies come to my house, use my phone to call different people. So they say, "Yeah, she live around the corner. She not far from here." So I was like, "Okay, well, who is this Margaret chick?" I know everybody. This is my neighborhood. I know everybody here, but so anyway, long story short, we walk around the corner, which is literally right around the corner from our house, and I see this young lady sitting on a car, and they talk, but she doesn't see me because she was interested in my friend, you know.
Mm.
But my friend had someone else, and he was going through a breakup, so all that happened, and so I didn't see her again for another few months after we departed, and we ran into each other. We had several different friends in common, and we started just seeing each other. And it was like when we would run into each other, it was like we just knew each other once we talked. And you had the friend groups, everybody just kind of go off in the corner by themselves and start talking. That was us, just catching up. I would, crack a joke, she'd laugh the loudest and stuff like that. So, and she was cute, she was, I was like, I like her, but so we tried to date, and that didn't work.
That was going to be my next question for you, was if you guys dated on and off, because dating in high school is hard. Like, there's a lot of growing up to do there. And I mean, even over 28 years of marriage, which we're going to get into, there's a lot of growing up to do there too. So how do you do it together? What did that look like for y'all while you were dating?
So that dating didn't work.
That was short-lived.
That was very because he was trying to grow his player relationship status, I guess.
Yeah, I was trying to
And
be
so
a player
I
and got caught up.
yep, and I gave
Uh,
grace and
yeah,
stayed friends with him, but,
yeah.
um, our friendship was about 5.5 years,
Mm-hmm,
and throughout that time, we were platonic friends. He was in a long-term relationship for about a year and a half,
mm-hmm,
almost 2 years. I moved away and, went to college. I would come home and visit. I would call him. We'd get together and hang out, but we were still just platonic friends. And, the end of '96, I came home for Christmas and we met for dinner, and I told him I was getting ready to move back home, and I asked him to, help me move. And so, moved back home, and he had broken up, him and his, ex had broken up, and from January of '97, well, until present day,
mm-hmm.
we were together. We started hanging out when I moved back home, and that was it.
Yep.
Very nice. And so it was that second time of you guys
Yes.
getting together after years of knowing each other and just kind of being friends. But it sounds like not even necessarily really close friends, just having similar friend groups, being able to hang
No,
out, be comfortable with each other.
we were pretty close.
We
We
Were
were
during
you? Okay.
but it was,
over the
um
years we built just a strong friendship, understanding. There was definitely some liking between us, but neither one of us wanted to admit
you're
it.
speaking for me?
Yeah, I'm speaking for you. Just don't wanna admit it.
We were close friends. It's just like I said, I had moved away, and so I would come home and I'd call him.
Mhm,
And then when he started dating someone, out of respect, I, remained more distant,
mhm,
but we were close friends. And in fact, when he was dating someone else, a couple of our other friends would like call me and tell me, this happened this time and this happened this time. You've got to get him away from her. What do you want me to do?
Sure.
So
Right. And then, so that second time, how long did y'all date before you proposed to Margaret?
That was well, it's kind of the lines are blurred in that time because when she came back in January, we started hanging, and I think around Valentine's Day, we kind of, we were each other's Valentines. They say we were hanging with each other every day. It was like, you know, nonstop. And so I would say from February till December. Um,
we call 1997 the year it all
yeah,
changed.
yeah.
And so we started hanging out. That crossed over into dating in
Hmm.
February. And then in July, found out that I was pregnant.
Hmm.
And so from there, it was okay, what do we do now? Because we've officially entered the adult realm of
Mm-hmm.
decision making.
Yep.
And October of that year, we moved in together, and the ex popped up. And so that was decision time for us. We sat down, and that was probably the most mature conversation we'd ever had, um, because we sat down and we talked about, what do we do? If you still have feelings for her, do you want to explore those feelings? You and I can co-parent. I still want to be your friend. This is my friend.
Yeah.
And so at that point, when we decided we were going to be together, then that's kind of when a shift happened, because if I'm saying that I want to be with you and I'm making this commitment to be with you, then there are some things that I'm going to have to change about myself so that we can make sure that what we're doing is going to last.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And we ended up getting married December 13th of 1997, and we had our son December 20th, 1997.
Wow. That is almost exactly how it happened with me and Michael. I met him like a year to date later. Pretty much, we got married, had our son December 10th is our son's birthday.
Wow.
Oh,
So
okay.
I met him the day after Thanksgiving. We started dating December 5th, and then we got married the following year, November 12th, and then our son was born on December 10th. So it was, that's just funny to hear.
So I want to go back a second because I know part of this whole marriage discussion that we're going to have is partly built on the friendship. So there's a age-old question, and it only came to me as you were speaking because I didn't know the full story of you guys. But there's a age-old question: can guys and girls really be friends, platonic friends? Now, because when you were even friends before you were even dating, was it friendship that was pure platonic, or was it friendship that I really like this guy, but I can't be with him right now, or I can't be with her right now, so I want to be friends, at least keeping them kind of close?
I
Is
think
it really possible? Is it really possible to be friends and be platonic?
so. I was not. I was probably a little more like that was probably subconsciously what I was feeling, but outwardly, and I say that, but then I can remember friends asking me, "Who is that? That's my friend Byron. Oh, is he dating anybody? Mm-mm. You gonna hook me up? Mm-mm." So, subconsciously, it probably was something there, but I don't. I think that like true friendship, you put energy and effort into, and
Mhm.
for us in a relationship, I'm not gonna put that energy and effort into another man, and so I feel like when it comes to platonic friendships that 9 times out of 10, if somebody, makes an offer to move further, that there's a high chance that it
Yeah,
could go
I
further,
think with
so
guys, for the most part, and I'm just speaking, most guys I know, uh, they say guys end up in the friend zone. And the friend zone for me is just like with guys tend to be, and I'm not saying that there are not guys who can't be platonic friends, but if there's an opportunity that develops and she decides to want to take it to the next level, I don't know many guys who would turn it down. I mean, just be honest with you.
mhm.
But I know for me, I had feelings for her, um, but I didn't know how to move because, she was always away at school, and I was here and trying to figure out life. And it would be months sometimes before we would, it's not like we were in constant contact with each other. There might be 3 or 4 months go by. She would call, be like, "Hey, I'm in town. What you doing?" And I would drop pretty much what I was doing or reroute my day to make sure that I spent some time with her, whether if it was on the phone or whether if it was meeting in person. So I definitely had the light there. Even when I was in my relationship with the ex, there was still a level of desire to be with her. Um, but it's in that young adult mindset, you're kind of confused. You don't know how to move. So, it's just like, well, if I ever get the opportunity, I'm going to make sure it happens. And when she told me she was moving back, now in 96, middle of 96, my dad passed away. Then I lost my relationship with my ex. So I was kind of in a mourning stage, but when she told me she was moving back, it was like in my mind, it was like now or never. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen at this time. So, my motivation for helping her move was even kind of like, if I help her, then maybe that'll get me one foot in the door. And it just ended up working out.
There you go. I like that question. I do think that it depends on the person because, right, it's not necessarily that guys and girls can't be friends. Are both individuals going to respect that this is either platonic or both are on the same page about it moving forward, like Byron said. Because I agree with Margaret too, is if you've really been friends with somebody for that long, if one person initiated it, chances are, unless there's extenuating circumstances that have limited it to just a friendship, that's probably what it is. So it's an interesting topic. I do like that question though.
Well, I think a couple things play into it. Did you meet at work? I think if you meet outside of work, outside of anything else, it's hard for it to be anything less than more than friendship because there's something that attracted you guys together in the first place. But you can maybe develop a friendship at work that leads to outside of work. I could, to me, that's an easier jump. Or if you were doing something together and that's what brought you together and not,
Mhm.
but I think if you just meet somebody, I don't know because spending time with somebody is a part of intimacy.
Mhm.
Um,
Yes.
and so it's fraying on the line of stuff that happens in a relationship.
Mhm.
It doesn't mean it is a relationship. It just means that you're at that line that it
Yeah.
can get misconstrued very easily.
Right.
Well, and I think too that during that time frame, you're having honest discussions with each other, so you're actually getting to know that individual. So it's like, you know, and sometimes in the beginning, it's easier to talk to a stranger. So you wind up telling this person some of your deepest, darkest secrets or what's really going on in your life at that time. And when you share those intimate details, it kind of draws you in.
Mhm.
And if you're a person that is seeking in a relationship, you feel like you know this individual, so you kind of have a foundation. So I think that's part of it too.
Yeah, that makes sense. What are yeah, do y'all talk about the love languages, the 5 love languages in your relationship coaching and podcast?
Yes.
We do. We do. And it's interesting. We took we took it a couple of years back.
Mhm.
Again, we did it several years ago, and we did it again, and that was a realization for me because mine had changed.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what I was going to ask you. Is I'm wondering. I guess the question is two faceted. One, if you would kindly define, just in a nutshell, what the 5 love languages are for our listeners that maybe aren't familiar with it. And then part one is how do you adapt to love languages changing for your partner over such a long period of time of being together? And is there such thing as love language compatibility, or is it just learning your partner's love languages and how to adapt to their needs versus expecting their love languages to be yours, vice versa?
Um, so the 5 love languages describes how we give and receive love, and it's what physical touch, gifts,
Yeah.
acts of
Acts of
service,
service.
words of encouragement, and I can't think of number 5.
Time. Yeah.
Quality time. Yeah.
And and
Quality time, yeah.
mm, I think that for one, the importance of understanding your love languages, it comes from knowing how to express love and not just how you receive love or
Mm,
you
Mhm.
how you feel love. And I think that's a big thing for people because when you are coming together as one, you have to kind of sit self aside at times and focus on that connection. And I think a lot of times people tend to get settled in how they experience love, and then they get frustrated when their partner doesn't accept it the same way, if
Right.
that makes sense.
mhm, mhm.
We had a few years back, we went through a financial strain. And so we usually travel a good bit. We're usually always, giving each other little things. And so there had been this space and time where we couldn't do that. And then my birthday came and things had kind of settled down. And so he had gotten me a few things and I was excited and thankful. But I told him, I would have really liked a Michael's gift card because that's something that I would use. I love yarn. Um, but he thought about it and he came back and he said, I'm sorry. He said, I was so excited to be able to get you something. And he said, I went in the store and I went and I picked these things out. And I was excited to be able to do that. And so that was a situation where he was excited to be able to do that, but not thinking about me receiving, if that makes
Right.
sense. And
Right, right.
so that's one of the big things about it too, is being comfortable enough to talk to your partner and say that.
Mhm.
Well, and doing it in a non-attacking way, which is where communication is, because I think that so many people, because we fail to know how to communicate those things in a healthy or effective way, we are trained with all of the life that we've been through. I mean, you could come to me and say, hey, I would have really liked a Michael's gift card, and I could have been on the receiving end of that and been like, just be grateful. Like, look at what I've done and instead he's like, because he's your person, he's able to, this is where I was coming from. This is what we've been going through. This was my intention behind it. And then you can appreciate intention versus what the application of that intention was. And I think that's where so many people drop the ball. I mean, I'm guilty of it. And hell, I've only been married for 3 years now.
And that's what that's the thing is he had to listen to me so that next time he won't do that. But then I listen to him to understand the root of that. And then we move forward and we make changes as needed. There was when I finished graduate school, there's a couple of people that were with me in classes. We would have dinner together and everything. And so we were sitting there one day. We had finished, and this I'm dating myself. I had a BlackBerry, and the new BlackBerries had come out, but there were 2 different models that came out. And there was a specific one that I wanted. And so he walked in, my friends and I are sitting at the table, and he hands me the bag, and I looked at it. And the minute he saw my face, he said, "It's the wrong one, isn't it?" And I shook my head, yes. And I put it back in the bag. And so he said, "Well, I'll take it back. I don't know, later, tomorrow, whatever." And he went and he put it in the room. And they were like, "I can't believe you just did that." "Did what?" And they said, "Well, he just got you and you're not, but I do appreciate it. But he doesn't want me to be stuck with a phone that I don't want until the contract is up." And we have,
Right.
well, we can go and exchange it now. We'll do that. And that way I'm grateful that he did it. And now it's what I wanted. So he doesn't, feel like I'm going to pout and whatever else, because I might.
So, Byron, can I ask you a question about that specific example? Because I think that exact example threatens a lot of men's egos.
Yes.
And I don't understand that from a woman's perspective. What would you say to young couples in relationships where that exact same situation unfolds and guy responds with something that is either aggressive, volatile, stirs confrontation versus how you handled it? Like, we'll take it back tomorrow, we'll swap it, because the way that you can do that is fantastic. But what can women do differently to not increase that perceived ego threat or whatever it is? And what would you say to, young men and women in that situation?
Well, I would definitely say, that comes with knowing your partner. And if, that same situation, if it was a new couple, I would tell the young lady to maybe just, receive it, but, and then come back later without everyone around and maybe say something. Like, that wasn't really the one that I wanted. But by that time, we had been together so long, I understood her.
Sure.
And, it was literally like I talked to her earlier that day, or maybe the day before, and was like, which one did you want? And my absent mind, I didn't write it down. I didn't write the model down. So I just went and got the phone. And, hey, I think she said this.
You had a 50-50 shot, to
Right,
be
right,
fair.
right,
So
Like, okay, well, I got the wrong one. So, I mean, it wasn't that big of a deal. And I would tell these young guys to just, be specific and listen, when she says what she desires. And, that brings me, I was just thinking about earlier, we know of a young lady who she was married and her husband would bring her flowers. Okay. Well, most guys typically think that all women like flowers. That's what we were marketed from the time we were, started watching TV, looking at soap operas, whatever. Women love flowers. Well, she didn't like flowers. And it was because she had experienced a family member who was experiencing abuse, and there would be physical abuse, and then he would bring flowers.
yeah.
Well, those flowers represented something that was nothing for her.
Right.
But he was stuck in his ways and he would just bring her flowers anyway. She couldn't stand it. So that comes within listening and being receptive to say, okay, you know what? I have to do what she likes.
Right.
Well, I have to, know what she likes. And that's, so that I don't bring up any type of raw emotions by doing something that I feel like, well, they're flowers. You should accept it. Everybody,
Mhm.
which is not true. So
Yeah.
that's where learning your partner comes in. So that's one of those things that I, throughout the years, I focused on, learning her. So I know, you know, there's no hard feelings. I know not to just go out there and buy a whole bunch of stuff because I know that 9 times out of 10, if I may get something that she not like, and it'll probably hurt me more the fact that I buy something that's just sitting on the table. Need to just man up and say, okay, do you like X, Y, Z? Okay, give me 3 things that you like. I'm gonna get one of those 3 things. And then we move on about our life.
Sydney brought up a really good point, and I know for guys, we probably get to a point where we feel like, oh man, I finally figured out how to love her in her love language, and then she goes and changes, and it's no longer good. That's no longer what she wants anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to ask on that end, like, how, like, I don't know, maybe it's just frustrating for women as it is for men, but it's like, I feel like we have to it's a lot of work for us to get to that point where, like, we finally figured you out, and now you just changed the game on me.
Yeah.
So, how do you keep, you know, where's the give and take? Where's the, like,
Such a good question.
how do you navigate those times? Do you sit down and physically have the conversation? Listen, I know this is what I used to want, but I no longer want, and
Mm-hmm.
you're point blank with it? Or is it something that, and this will lead more into a second question, or is it something more that you have to sacrifice because they finally are giving you what you want, and that's what you wanted from them, or you thought you wanted that from them, but you really never did. Maybe it was.
So, and one thing, because if you're familiar with love language, you have the main one, but you also, you receive and give in all of them. And so I think the main thing is to, you appreciate when your partner does something. But for us, like, that changed when we were doing our coursework for our training. We did the love languages quiz then, and that's
Mhm.
when I could see, oh, this has changed. And so I think it went from it used to be giving, and now it's words of affirmation. Did I say that one before?
Yeah, you did.
I
Did
did.
you mean like gifts used to be it and now it's more words of affirmation?
Words of
Okay.
affirmation.
Mhm.
And so um, we took the thing, we did the coursework, didn't think anything of it. I thought, well, that's interesting, but didn't think anything of it in application. Um, but there was after that, there was a situation where um, I'm in individual therapy working through some things. We occasionally have couple sessions as I work through things and see how that affects us as a couple. But something came up, and I was telling him how I felt about the situation, and it was so hard for me to say it because I felt like I was wrong with what I was saying. I felt like I was being a bad person or mean or whatever with what I was saying. And so when he said something, and he said, "Well, I feel that way sometimes too." And he said, he told me that I did a good job with whatever I was dealing with or something like that. And in that moment, I told him, I said, "Well, I need to hear those things more. I need to hear that you're feeling those things. And I also need to hear when you see that I'm moving differently." Because for me, I feel like sometimes I'm just in a vacuum doing things.
Mhm.
So if
Mhm.
Like, I feel it's hard inside for me, but I don't know if anyone outside feels it. So just in that moment, I was able to tell him. Um, and there again, it all goes back to there's a connection and there's a commitment, and the commitment to our relationship, to our marriage, um, that comes first. And so it's easier to put feelings aside and to calm yourself and think about things in terms of that relationship and that marriage versus you hurt my feelings when you
Mhm.
did this or said that. Because in the end, um, like that's giving him the key to how to show me how he feels, and that helps me and makes it easier for me to be vulnerable, and vice versa. That makes it easier
Yeah.
for him when he realizes that, for him, it's what quality time, and
Mhm.
I think acts of service was his.
Service.
But things like he works on cars um on the side when he's not working. And so there are times when I'll get a chair and sit outside with him while he's working on the car. And I know that means a lot to him. Um so understanding and knowing that when I do these things, that gives you evidence of, I'm paying attention. I want you to know how I feel. And then he gets to reciprocate that. So it's just important that sometimes you have to put those feelings aside and put pride aside and think about the long term and think about what you're building.
And then I would say definitely as you're communicating, we talk about things, and it just may be a general conversation we may just be having in the car. And it's that listening and paying attention so that you know that, okay, well, she said in the conversation she doesn't like flowers anymore. So now I'll give you a prime example. Earlier in our relationship, she didn't really care for flowers. And, I was like, okay, well, that's cool. So I didn't do flowers. For the longest time, I didn't do flowers. And we were talking one day, and she said something about one of her coworkers who had gotten some flowers at school. And it's like, they were real pretty. So I was like, okay. So I said, well, maybe she liked flowers now. So I made sure it wasn't a holiday like Valentine's. I sent some flowers to the school. And she was like, okay, well, and then she expressed to me, thank you. That was nice. I know I said before that I didn't like flowers, but I think I like them now.
It's funny.
So,
I feel like that requires a level of intuition too, though, because like going back to what John said to allow you to further elaborate on it, I have people that come to me that, and I don't do like relationship specific coaching, but people come to me just friends for advice. I do life coaching. And they'll come to me and they'll be frustrated because they feel like they're walking on eggshells with their partner because they feel like they're supposed to be able to read their partner's mind. But I think in their partner's mind, if I were to go and ask them, that they would feel that they've articulated this time and time again.
yes,
So and it really goes back to that, like, okay, so there's a communication barrier here because one person heard you don't like flowers versus you in this situation picked up on, I'm just going to try it. Like, what's the worst case scenario? She throws them in the garbage and comes back home and says, no, I still don't like flowers. I just thought the other ones were pretty, right? So where is that balance? Because what John said, I hear people say that a lot. I mean, my husband even says it. He's like, I get exhausted trying to keep up with you. And that makes me feel defeated. And I'm saying that from a position of I know that there are thousands of couples out there that struggle with the same thing. So I'm bringing it to the table. Like, what do you tell young couples in that situation?
What's the end goal? Like, I get early into it. I'm sure it can feel exhausting because you're getting to know each
yeah,
other. You are, even aside from getting to know each other, you have a whole human being you're living with and having to merge lives with.
mm,
Two of them.
yeah,
So so that in and of itself is difficult, but um the end goal for us is a happy, healthy marriage. And so whatever keeps us on that track. And sometimes that means, and we don't, I don't want to make it seem like we're like it does become intuitive. You said it. It does become intuitive because that's what I want. I want to do things for him and see him smile. And he wants to see me smile. And so in the situation with the flowers, had he gotten them and I came home and was like, that was nice. Thank you. I appreciate it. I don't like flowers. We would have laughed about it. He would have said, well, I thought because you said blah, blah, blah. And then that would have been
Sure.
the end of it. And so the communication, the listening, learning how to not internalize those things. And as far as like keeping up with, I don't know, how do you keep up with the communication helps because
Yeah.
I'm vocal, uh, and I'm that way because I don't want him trying to guess.
Mm.
Sometimes I can't even figure me out. And so if I have a moment of clarity, I want to let him in.
Yeah.
But and I don't think it's fair. I've seen people on social media post and say, my husband got me this and I really wanted this and he should have just known. How? Like we're not you don't read mind, you ask and accept the response, accept the answer and then you move forward.
It's so much easier just to, okay, give me a list of 5 things that you like. Let's say for the holidays, Christmas is coming up. Give me a list of 5 things that you like specifically, right? And that works so much easier because, hey, I may miss the boat. If I go all the way to the left and get something that you wouldn't be interested in, then I've got you something that you don't like. I spent money that was not necessary. I think that a lot of times that blocks couples is the problem is they're thinking of themselves. What do I get out of this relationship more than what do we get out of it?
I
And
do like the initiative that you displayed, though, in saying, like, tell me 5 things that you like, because I think that, and this isn't a hit at men or women for that matter. It really is just a reflection of the standards of communication and how much relationships collectively have deteriorated in our society. I don't see people doing that, though. Like, coming and saying, hey, give me 5 things that you like, because then it creates that safe space for her or for him, vice versa. If we're trying to figure out what does my man want that I want to be able to get for him, where they don't feel like they're coming and asking for something or being needy or gripey. Like, we are expressing interest in our partner and allowing space to have that conversation in a setting like that.
And technology makes these things, I'm sorry. Technology makes these things so much easier because we have a shared note. And like he said, he wants to get the right thing. I'll screenshot and put on that shared note.
Nice.
So
Yep.
so it makes the communication a little bit easier. And it makes it's more of a fun thing now than just, here's my list of demands type thing.
Yeah, sure.
So it's how you look at things and then there again thinking about the end goal.
I just wanted to say that I actually had heard from somebody who kind of like you did the 5 things, but I think it was like 7 or 8 or whatever.
Mhm.
And his thing was like, write down a list of 5 or 8 things. You'll get 3 of them for Christmas, you'll get 1 on your birthday, and you'll get 1 on Mother's Day. But you're not gonna know which one you're getting when.
Right.
And this way, it was like he got his whole gift list for the whole year. But
Right.
she also didn't know what she was getting when she was getting it
Right.
also.
That wouldn't work
Which
for me, because if I want something, I go buy it. So, like, the list is
And that's what because he works shift work and we've had to adapt he's been in the same job for 24 years. So throughout the marriage, we've had to open gifts on Christmas Eve, or because we could never do it the day after with kids, but we've had to have, Thanksgiving dinner on Friday. We've had to make these shifts, and it's gotten us to a point where these are just days.
Yeah.
Valentine's Day, Christmas, I'm not going to put pressure on myself about getting him something for X day, because last week or last month I was at the store and I saw this. He had the thing that they lay on the ground and roll under the car. He had one and something happened to it. Well, I was at a store and I saw one and I was like, that looks like something he wants. And I got it. Wasn't a special day. I just saw something that I knew that he needed. And so the value for me in gift giving is making sure that I'm giving something that there's meaning behind.
Mm-hmm.
That's where a lot of that comes from, is that when I get the things and I'm like, well, these are good, I'm glad, thank you, I appreciate it, but this would have been better, because I'm not one who I don't like to just give things just because it's a certain day, or just to give things. I like to give things with meaning.
They have done the companies have done a great job marketing to us feelings and emotions and how we should feel. Diamonds are a girl's best friend. You're missing out if
they're nice.
Don't have this.
We won't complain, but
right.
Come to Zales for Christmas and your birthday and this, that, and the other. And I think that creates a level of stress in relationships, because then guys are like, okay, I know she wants something. What can I give?
I just want to kick in and speak on the guy's behalf for a second, because we're talking all about like what the woman wants, right?
Right.
But what about the man? What about the man? Like, we get the cheap end on all this stuff. Like when I was, no, seriously. Like when I was married, my wife and my kids, they knew I loved the Eagles and they knew I loved The Walking Dead. So every Christmas, every birthday, everything was Walking Dead or Eagles. And dude, like, I'll be happy with that stuff. But it's like, you didn't think about it. You didn't put any thought into it. You knew I liked this stuff, so you bought stuff. But if it was the opposite way, we'd be grilled over a steak about it. And this was part of one of my questions I wanted to ask, and I do want to get into our topic. But like, for me, I've always desired, even as a kid, like I always wanted like mentorship. But I never went out and I never spoke and told anybody I wanted it, because I only wanted it if it was genuine. In my marriage, there were things like, there was times where I remember listening to a Glenn Beck, because he was the first radio politician kind of political thing I ever listened to. And one day, like, this woman called up for her husband and did something, made a big deal of her husband. And I remember recalling that to my wife. And almost dropping like a hint. Like, wouldn't it be cool if you did something, found a show that I was listening to on a regular basis and called in, instead of me calling in or wanting to call in, you call in and do something for your husband? It never, but I would have never mentioned that to her, because then I would have told her and it would have meant nothing to me. It would have had to be like her idea, but I've kind of like, us guys, I think sometimes we do drop hints and girls just don't read them at all. Like, if we say we enjoyed something that somebody else said, that probably, like, you picked up on the whole flower thing. I think women get off real easy. Like, oh, I know he likes Transformers. I know he likes this. He likes that. I can easily buy him a pair of socks. We get the pair of socks on Father's Day. We don't even get a home cooked breakfast or anything. Where's our flowers? But
I think society has we're made to believe that that's how it's supposed to be, or that that's how it is, and that men really don't care about things like that. We're made to, the idea is that, and sometimes it comes from, I just want to, when men will say, I just want my family to be happy and healthy. Well, if you want more than that, then you have to say it. But I think society has kind of put us in a position to think that
Yes.
men aren't really
Yeah.
driven by those things, or it
You
doesn't
just work and
matter.
bring the bacon home and don't worry about anything else. And I think that
Mhm.
that has played into relationships as well, because like I said, the marketers have marketed. They don't market anything to men like, get this diamond bracelet for a man. You ain't never seen nothing like that advertised. So it's typically like I think that's kind of like the conditioning. So, as men, we're not supposed to want anything, or I
One
mean,
day I would like flowers. Just
typically,
once. I don't want them every week. I just want them one day. I want flowers to show up one day and not at my funeral.
yeah,
But
you
that's
want
the only
flowers
time
one
we
day?
get our flowers.
Let me ask you this: when you get the flowers, you gonna brag to the fellas at work?
See,
I will post it on Facebook and Instagram and everything.
and there again, that comes from getting to know your partner and
Mm-hmm.
understanding their desires. Um, a lot of times, things that I've been pretty bad with, buying things and trying to give him things to express whatever, and he's just not moved by those things. Unless it's something like I said, the thing for in the out when he's working on cars.
Mhm.
But I think it just comes down to knowing your partner and understanding that they have needs, they have wants, they have desires. And if you are, invested in that relationship, then you're going to try and figure those things
Yeah.
out with their help, not necessarily trying to read their mind, but, really communicating and asking those questions.
And the thing for me is, she is my brain, because, when I go to researching things, if I hadn't figured it out in 5 minutes, I'm frustrated and I'm done. So I will go to her and be like, hey, can you look up this for me? Can you research this for me? Just see what you can find out about it. And she comes with the full report. And so that for me is brings me more peace, so that like now I can just go, I want something, but I don't know. Like she mostly does Amazon. I mostly do eBay. And I know she has the Prime and everything. So I'll find something. It's too much on eBay. Um, I'll look at it on Amazon. Okay. I'll send it to her, and I'll send it to her. She gets it. I'm happy. I'm satisfied. I'm not even worried about it. And those are the type of things that, we lean on each other, since so I'm not particular about receiving gifts. I just
Makes
wasn't.
it very hard.
I just buy my stuff,
It
When I want
makes it
something, I just
hard.
go buy it. I mean, I don't, so she'll ask me, what do you want? I don't know.
Yeah.
What do
So,
I want for Christmas? I don't know.
I don't know.
so one of the real reasons why I was excited about this episode, and I mean, we're having a great conversation, and I almost don't want to go here, but I do want to go here because I do want to get a little bit into this. Maybe it'll be a teaser for another episode because I know we've been already on for a while. But why do you think young people aren't looking to get married or don't see like what you have is beautiful. The stories we're telling, I think are great. It shows what marriage is really awesome. And even in some of the stuff that we talked about, and real quick, if everybody should read the 5 love languages, I believe it's by Gary Chapman, if I'm correct.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
so check out that book, read that book because it's a great book because of what we've been talking about. But why do you think there's a hesitation? Why do you think people aren't running to experience what you guys are beautifully describing and just displaying?
I think that one thing, we've been inundated with bad information. One of the most popular TV shows in the 90s and early 2000s was Divorce Court. You look on
Wow,
it,
I didn't even think about that.
Mhm.
yeah, people divorcing, and you would hear why they were divorcing. You would hear all these things. You look on social media, nobody's staying together. Um, you have Facebook groups that are relationship advice, but there's so much toxicity involved in those groups. And which was one of the reasons why we decided to do the Beyond I Do podcast, because as I walk around my life, I go to Walmart, I go to different stores. I've seen couples together, couples smiling, couples happy. And I'm like, well, it exists. It's happiness out there. But I think that for us, the young folks, they have access to more things. And she teaches school, so she can tell you
Mm.
about the mindset of some of these young kids and how it is with them. But they just, go ahead. What you tell that
I had a
part?
student ask me a couple of days ago. I don't even know what she was doing. I don't know what she was looking at, but she looked at me and she said, "Miss Mackey, when you grow old with your partner, do your feelings change?" And so
Yes.
I was, did you just call me old? But there's so much negativity, and there's unrealistic expectations,
Mhm.
and people don't extend grace to each other.
Yep.
Mm.
And so you have this young couple who may or may not have witnessed what real relationship looks like in their lives, and they come together and they realize that um, this is not rainbows and sunshine like I imagined,
Mhm.
and I don't like how this feels, so I'm just gonna leave.
Right.
And there's like, for one, you extend grace when someone does something and give them the opportunity to make it right. But two, you check yourself to hold yourself accountable. And then three, if you don't learn how to move through hard things, you won't experience much.
Yeah.
There's ebb and flow in everything. And one thing you will never hear me say, and this is me, you will never hear me say that marriage is hard. What I will say is life has been hard. And at the times when life was the hardest, I had him to turn to and to lean on. And we went through those things together.
Mhm.
And that has been, I mean, that has been, I can't even describe that. Life has been very hard,
Marriage
but
is
marriage
challenging.
has, there have been
Challenge.
challenges.
Mhm.
And most of those challenges came from dealing with things outside and from the pride of how you handle it with each other.
Mhm.
But it hasn't been hard. Life, though, has given us some hard things to deal with, and I'm so thankful that I've had him. Um, I also know that the path that I was on in my late teens and early 20s um, probably would have been pretty destructive had I not married him. And so being in our relationship, being in our marriage made me realize that I wanted to be a better person. And so I wanted to be a better human being because I wanted him to be proud of me, and I wanted him to be comfortable being with me and to trust me. And so that has brought out the best in me. And those benefits far outweigh any level of supposed freedom or anything else that others may feel like I've missed out on.
And I think also that people tend to look at relationships in their family. And if you don't see any positive marriages or relationships, if your parents have been divorced or if grandparents have been divorced, then that's you take some of that negativity with you. So some of these young kids may look at it as, well, that's just a part of life. And sometimes they marry with the divorce as an option.
Mhm.
It's like, well, we'll just get married. And if it doesn't work, we'll get divorced. And I've actually heard people say that. And so, but, I know for me, I had a great example, which was my father and my grandfather. I watched those two men that they died. Married to death did them part. So I just, assume that that's the way things were. You have issues, you work through them. You don't just give up. You don't just quit unless it's something that, is some type of betrayal that has been, you can't deal with that. And I'll
Or
never tell
abuse.
anybody, just deal with it. I'll never tell
Right.
anybody just suck it up. You
Right.
have to decide what you can deal with. At the end of the day, there's always going to be challenges. You just have to decide how much work you want to put in. It's just like a test when you were in school. When you were in school, they gave you worksheets. You had all the instructions. They told you how to do the work. They taught you. You had a test on Friday, and according to how you applied yourself is how well you did on the test. And that's a challenge, just like anything else in life. And you're going to face those challenges in relationships, and it's just how are you going to navigate those challenges and come out on top together. And like I said, sometimes you have to take the I out. There's no I in couple. There's no I in couple. It's we have to figure out how we're going to come out at the end and come out on top. And people just tend to walk into these relationships thinking about only what am I going to get out of, or what I'm missing, or what I don't have. Well, have you communicated that to your partner instead of 10,000 people
On
on
Facebook.
Facebook asking them how you should respond? Or,
Right.
what do you think about this? Just go talk to that man or that woman.
That is going to end up being a teaser for a segment too, based on our time, because this could go on for so long. And I think that it's so important to talk about, just based on where our culture is right now and like how we can be influential. I have one more question before we go into final segments, and John might as well. But um my question is there ever a scenario where you do not encourage working through it? Especially because you guys were friends for several years before you got married. So it's not like in my situation where I met him, we dated for a year and we were married the next, not using my example, but like we didn't have the years of friendship that you guys had, even though that first year of very serious was very similar for both of us. Are there scenarios or red flags or things enough where you're mentoring a couple or an individual and it's like, this might not be for you?
Any type of
Yeah,
abuse,
abuse, definitely.
physical, mental,
Serial
emotional.
infidelity, definitely.
Right.
Murder.
Yeah, we should just go through capital charges, right? Like, let's
Find
just.
out that you're a serial killer. Go ahead and just go ahead.
I
Saying
think that it's important too that those red flags, they become amplified when you're married. They don't go away when you say I do. They become amplified.
Mhm.
And one of the things that we are constantly preaching, and that we'll die on the hill, you have to like your partner.
Yes.
And so and people, I think a lot of people, when I say that, they think it's intuitive, but it's not. Um, he snapped at the waitress because blah, blah, blah. And I don't speak to people who serve like that. Okay. Then if you address it and he doesn't see anything wrong with it, he's not going to change it.
Mhm.
That's his character. And so you have to decide, is this something that I want to continue with?
Right.
So I think that, though, like I said, any type of abuse, but then those character flaws, those moral issues that you're not going to see eye to eye on, that
Mhm.
any types of behaviors that your partner's not willing to change.
Yes.
I can tell you, both of us we've gone through a lot of change and shifting. because the goal was we are going to have a happy, healthy marriage. So that means that um, I'm not going to go and hang out with the guys on my only night off because I need to nurture my marriage.
Yep.
That means that I'm not going to go sit in the room with my laptop and my yarn, um, and stay in my bubble because I want to nurture time with him. So if you're with someone who's not willing to make those changes, adjustments, whatever, for the good of your marriage, for the good of the relationship, then that's definitely time to think, okay, what am I going to accept?
And also, if the individual, like I encourage men, definitely go get some help, go get some therapy, go get some coaching, go get some counseling. And I consider myself to have a pretty decent upbringing. Um, there was no abuse in my house, but I was the youngest of 10 children.
Mm.
And growing up in that, I had adult brothers and sisters when I was, a child, that I was helping to move out of an apartment, and I saw abuse. I saw these things that my siblings participated in, or I was helping a sister move out of an apartment when her boyfriend at the time abused her. So I saw all these things, and there's always room for improvement. We're never to the point where we just got it all mastered. And if it's going to help the relationship, go seek some help, even if it's just another brother to talk to, some wise counsel, somebody who has marriage on their brain, a good positive marriage, and you know, sit down and talk to that person. I advise people to do that, man or woman. Just have some positivity in your life, because if you're around negative people, and if they're not promoting your healthy marriage, or they're, you got to be around your husband all the time. Why you want to be around him? Come hang out with us. Then they're not. Uh, they don't care about your happiness. They just care about you just being around them.
Yeah.
So just get some help. Get some help. I'd encourage that, definitely.
And I just, as my final question before we get in the final five, I want to end on a more of a positive note.
All right.
I know we asked you why the young people was keeping them from getting in marriage, and then we talked about red flags. But in a minute, I'll give each of you a minute. Like, why should people get married today? What's the benefit? What's the thing to look forward to? What's the what's the cherry on top? Why is marriage so awesome? And
Um,
why should they consider it?
I say most definitely you have uh, a companion, someone that you can go through life with, and tell those deep dark secrets, and be able to just smile, be able to put a smile on their face. Um, a happy marriage can help you throughout life. We know that life is getting expensive now. The days when we started out, you could find a nice 2-bedroom apartment for $600 to $700 a month. Now that same 2-bedroom apartment is running you $15,000 to $2,000 a month now. Got somebody that's going to help you take care of some of those ends, to help you buy those expensive uh, things that you want, or the house that you desire. So there's financial, there's, and marriages bring on a good, healthy life. I know as a single man, I would eat pizza, I would eat hamburgers, I would eat fried chicken every single day.
Every day.
But this one here says, nah, you need to cut
Got to
back on
throw
it.
a vegetable
I'm
in there.
concerned about your life. Take your butt to the doctor. You know what I'm saying? Put vegetables in your diet. So there are definitely some great benefits to being married, and it can be fun. You just have to make it fun. We enjoy each other's company. We enjoy this. We enjoy talking to people about our marriage and how we have navigated these years. And I can't see life any other way.
My husband would refute that. He'd say, "You know what? I was having more fun before she made me eat vegetables."
See, with his schedule, he gets to eat plenty of junk food.
Mhm. Yeah, I hear that.
Those that I fix, they're fighting a losing battle. And I'm just honestly the same thing, the companionship, um, and the support. He is my biggest cheerleader. I am, um we're both ADHD, but,
Mhm.
I am an attentive ADHD, and my brain is constantly going, and in that going, I always have something that I wanna do or try, and he is right there supporting it. Um, he's also a loving critic, and so if I do something or say something and I'm like, "Should I have said that?" "You probably could have said it nicer," or "You
Mhm.
probably could have just skipped that part." Um, and I accept that because in the end, it makes me a better person. So, that companionship, I have someone that I trust who will let me know, that one was probably not a good move, or who will cheer me on.
Yep.
Um, and in those times when it gets very difficult, um, I have a place to go, I can vent, I can cry, I can do whatever, and he just loves me and supports me, and that helps me and comforts me as I'm going through these things. So, the support, the companionship, and then, like he said, we enjoy each other. We
Mhm.
laugh, we spend time together, um, enjoying life.
Key takeaways.
My key takeaway is something we kind of been talking about, but I guess I'm going to put a different little spin on it, and that is that when when it becomes me and start a we and start instead of we, and when I start focusing on what I'm getting out of the marriage, then it's not about the marriage, it's about myself. And it was something that I know in my marriage that I really struggled with, and it can be a constant battle because we have that selfish nature. We have that nature that wants to say, I'm getting the short end of the stick, right? I'm being taken advantage of. I'm being, how many times do you hear people say, "Well, I'm not being treated fairly. I'm not." Well, are you working together or are you working for yourself? Are
Mhm.
you trying to get back at him because you think he's treating you unfair or she's treating you unfair?
Right.
Or are you trying to make the marriage work? I think too many times we're battling. And then I loved what you said about when you talked about the when I asked about like what was keeping people. You said three things, but I'm going to put them in different terms. And that was that it was what was it? Now that I forgot the words, but it was about social media. It was echo chamber. We live in an echo chamber. So the voices today, instead of you just hearing from one person or another person, oh, you go and vent to them. Now you're venting to a million people and
Mhm.
you're hearing that you're right by a million people. So
Right.
instead of having pushback from one or two people, maybe you have those people that are important in your life and they go, oh, maybe you're not looking at. Now you're hearing, yeah, you're being treated unfairly. Yeah, you're not getting what you want. So we live in this echo chamber. The first thing I was going to say was mentorship. Like just like and that's why I brought mentorship in before. Like
Yes.
having that, and you talked about it, having that mentor. Like you should have an older couple that mentors you if you're in a marriage. You should
Yes.
have somebody you're looking up to.
Yeah.
And part of the problem now is that we're setting a standard of broken relationships. That the
Mhm.
new kids coming up, there's no chance for them to have mentors because there's so few and far between.
Right.
Right.
So
Mhm.
there's not that, and then there was one other. It was mentorship. It was you had said it, but I was thinking of it in a different terminology. But the three you said basically were awesome. And yeah, so yeah, that's my key takeaways. And it's like you just gotta focus on us, and marriage is beautiful, beautiful thing. It
Yes.
is something that's awesome. It's something that it is God ordained, and dude, there should be so much more pouring into it, and I feel sorry.
It is, it, I know I say we, when I say we, I'm usually talking about me. Um, but the past few months, we've had a lot of things happen within family, but there's also, some things with the podcast where I kind of, I had to rethink some things and start focusing on, okay, why did we start this? Because there's so much negativity about marriage. And then when you do see a couple and they're struggling and you offer a bit of advice, if that advice doesn't feel good to them, then they are, you know, no, I don't want to hear that, or no, or you have this, the pop psychologist, you hear these words, you hear narcissism and, weaponized incompetence, and people just throw these words around. And I'm like, or he doesn't know and you're expecting him to read your mind.
Yeah,
You should just say something. So,
exactly.
um, and it's sad when I know how marriage has benefited me in my life personally, and I know how, with our kids, my daughter, she says, none of my friends, none of their parents are together. Uh, and that's been a constant thing since they've grown up, and just that stability that we've given them,
Mm.
um, and hopefully a model of what a healthy relationship looks like. And if they choose to go down that path and get married, then they know what a healthy relationship looks like. And now that they're adults, they're even more in that fold, and they get to see, they know we like each other and we choose each other first, but they don't see that as a slight to them. They see it as a benefit to
Yep.
them.
I think that my key takeaway is usually similar to John's, but in a different vein. Like you had mentioned the ego thing, and I think that marriage is one of the only arenas where you win by forfeiting your ego rather than the other way around. Like the world tends to teach convenience, but marriage teaches character, and only one of them has something that is really worth keeping in the end. I mean, you don't just stumble into a 28-year marriage. You know what I mean? Like, that's
Right.
something that you build brick by brick, apology by apology. And as Margaret said, grace after grace after grace. Like, that's a continued thing. And it's not built on chemistry. Like, people think that their feelings, like if they feel differently, love isn't always a feeling. Like, yes, it's sometimes a feeling, but it's a choice, and it's daily
Right.
choices that are
Right.
deliberate and most of the time unglamorous. And, there's seasons of life for all of those things, but recognizing that the commitment piece that you guys have been reiterating, like what we decided is that we want a healthy, committed marriage. And so that's what we work towards with our choices deliberately and intentionally. Whereas I think the world looks at it and it's, if this doesn't make me feel good right now, then I'm not going to do it.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. And what doesn't make you feel good in the moment, that moment may not last very long if you just stick through it,
Yep.
and then be accountable.
Right.
Because
Okay.
sometimes it's me. It's not
Well,
him, it's me.
and that's what I was going to ask you guys too. Like if you had one thing from this episode, because this is packed with a lot of really great information, and we could break this down into an entire series with how relevant it is. I'm going to ask both of you, what is the one thing that you would want the audience to take away from today's conversation?
One thing.
One thing.
One thing.
Just one.
One key thing, yeah. Hence the key takeaway, because I could come up with 50. I did my best to boil it down.
Just reiterating on what John said earlier about coming out of self, and understanding that in order to make this work, you have to focus on the relationship. And if you can do that, and it's literally picking apart pieces of yourself. I know that, we grew up being taught self-identity, self-worth, all these self things, and that's great for the individual, but you have to have, and you could keep all that, but at the same time, focusing on the relationship, you have to, not saying that you just deny yourself, but yourself becomes a little less important than the relationship, than the marriage. And you can still get what you want. You just have to put the marriage first.
Mhm.
And you working through those, it's kind of like a juggling, that, a balance of that. You know, you get what you want. The relationship gets what it wants, then you get what you want. Relationship gets what it wants, then you get what you want. You benefit either way. But it's just, you know, when you're solely focusing on yourself alone, then that's when you're creating problems.
Mhm. Love it.
My key takeaway would be wow, you said there was a lot. There's a lot. um, I'll go along the same vein. Just being accountable for self. Making sure that your actions are not the problem, because sometimes they are, and we get caught up in the feeling and we're hurt and we're angry, but then we have to sit back and see what we contributed to the situation, and then we can work together to fix the situation. But just being accountable for your actions and how your actions affect your marriage.
I love it. Such good stuff.
I had a teacher say one time in class, if you're frowning more than you smile, then you need to reevaluate your relationship.
That's the truth.
It just popped in my
Yeah.
head.
That was
No,
good.
and I think about this, and it's true whether it's sex or marriage. If you're focused on pleasing the other person, you both end up happy.
There you
You know?
go. There you go.
Yep.
You just spoke his language.
Yep.
So that
It-
was a rated R portion of our show today.
This episode will have 2 releases. One's rated R just for that one sentence. One, they're like, why is it only 30 seconds longer?
And that's going to bring us, actually, as always, we want to hear your key takeaways. Please comment below. Let us know what you took away from today's episode. There's a ton, so I know we didn't cover it all. There's plenty of it for you to cover what your key takeaway is, so please comment below. And that's going to bring us to the final 5.
The final 5.
And the first question for you guys is, who is your hero and why?
Mm. My hero. My hero is you.
Bonus points. Ding, 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 ding.
See, that's so much pressure, because now I'm supposed to say it's him.
You don't have to.
I'm
My hero was my dad.
I was about to say, then I'll say your dad, because he was an amazing man, and he's the reason you're here.
No, I love that.
My hero is my paternal grandmother. She has passed away, but she was my source of comfort when I was younger. And my parents did the best with what they could do, but she was my source of comfort when I was younger. And thankfully he was able to meet her and before she passed, and she embraced him and my son just like he had taken care of me. So
I love
Yeah.
it.
My dad was definitely my hero because he taught
mine
me
too.
to be me. And I wouldn't be me if it wasn't for him.
Yeah.
I love that. Sounds like y'all have an awesome family. That's very cool. Second question for y'all is going to be, what is your most hard-earned piece of marriage wisdom? In a catchphrase.
Be
Go ahead.
I know what you're gonna say.
Go ahead.
Be open and communicate good and bad. If you're holding things in, we talked earlier about those outside influences. It just makes it easier for those outside influences to be accessible.
Mm-hmm.
And you have people that don't care that you're married if they're interested in you. So
Right.
just if there's something that you need and you're not getting from your relationship, be brave enough to speak up to your spouse versus someone else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And mine would be keep everyone out of your dang business. Friends and family. There's just some things that you need to keep in house. If you're having disagreements, don't go telling everybody about your disagreements, because once you guys make up, you're fine.
Right. But nobody
Family,
else forgets because
Right.
they split
don't
on it.
forget.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
you painted a negative picture of your mate to your family. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Such good advice too.
What is either one book, one verse, one saying, one quote that has greatly impacted you or your marriage? Um,
The book we wrote.
There you go. You're allowed
there
to
you
say
go.
that. I love that.
Right.
the book we wrote.
In different ways, because for one, it was something that we did together.
Mhm.
And then
Mhm.
two, not a lot of people can say that they're published authors, and I got to do that with my husband.
Yep.
Mhm.
But then the book is about us and how we navigated through certain things. So it was a reflective experience for both of us, but also it's a moment of pride too.
Absolutely. Show us.
All right, do the promo. Come on, here's your little promo. Go ahead.
Go. Oh, I love that.
Like
And we'll link that below too. We will put that in the links below.
it's available on Amazon.
Love it.
That's still surreal.
Yeah, I forget about it
It's been a year and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, I published mine in August and it still feels surreal every once in a while.
Right. Looking at copies like, what is this? Oh, that's my book.
Oh, wait a minute, I did that. Why does that look familiar? Oh, wait a minute. That's me. That's so cool. Yes, we will link your book below. Next question for you is going to be, when you guys just need a time to reconnect and like life to not be so serious, what's y'all's go-to date night, reconnect night? Like what do y'all do for fun together as a couple, or what is your favorite date night together?
We watched Dateline in 2020.
Yep.
When you started with the D, I thought you were going to say divorce court.
Nope.
Yeah.
Dateline in
Dateline in
2020.
2020.
Our go-to.
Oh boy.
Like to figure out why he did it and why they did it, and
$20,000.
that's all.
You're like,
60,000.
man, I could have saved them 20 grand if they would have just come done our coaching course. You're like, man, I could have saved that one. Did
Absolutely.
you have to take the whole family? Why you just leave?
We're right.
She wants the dog too. What the heck?
Wanted to kill someone.
Yeah.
That's our go-to. I think that it just represents our downtime and spending time together. But yeah, that's our go-to.
As
No,
far
that's
as
a good answer. I like it. That's funny.
as far as reconnecting, one of the things that we do, I mean, we hang out with each other all the time. A trip to Walmart is just a joy for us to sit and talk about other people. Sometimes we'll make up what the scenario of their life is.
Yeah.
We'll see a couple and be like, oh yeah, he's mad because she made him come to Walmart and he wanted to play his video game. We'll just make up stuff and just laugh about it. But we often do every few months we do a getaway. We'll get in a car and just drive to another city, get a hotel for the weekend, and just reconnect. I'm not gonna say put the phones away because nobody does that, but we just reconnect. We talk. That's time away from our life so that we can just get things accomplished that we want to accomplish. Talk about what we want to do as far as our podcast and our coaching and things like that. So that's one of the things that we do, and that helps us continue to build our foundation.
Absolutely. That's great.
And who is one person or couple, living or dead, who you would love to sit down and have a cup of coffee with?
There's an old entertainment couple by the name of Ossie Davis and Ruby D. They were actors and actresses, and they just had this long relationship, and I would love to sit down and talk to them.
For me, it would be his dad. His dad passed away the year before we got married. And so I know it's been hard for him because of the big shift in life, but the few times that I was around his dad as just his friend, I felt so welcomed. And so that loss, I experienced that loss as well, even though it was before we were married. So, yeah.
He sounds like an awesome guy. Well, Byron and Margaret, thank you so much for being here with us today. For listeners who want to connect with you guys or read your book, follow your journey, maybe reach out to you for your coaching services, how would they go about finding you or following you?
You can email us at admin@beyondidopodcast.com. The website is beyondidopodcast.com. We're on YouTube. We're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. We have a Facebook page.
We have a Facebook group also.
There's a Facebook group also. So reach out to us. And again, our book is called Unlocking Forever: 10 Keys to a Successful Marriage Beyond I Do, written by us. And it is available on Amazon. And we thank you for allowing us to spend time with you guys.
Yes.
Well, it has been our extreme pleasure to have you as guest, and I hope this is the first of many podcasts that we get to do together. But as
Yes.
always,
We've enjoyed it anytime.
Yes.
As always, remember, when we take the time to hear somebody's story, it gives us the opportunity to find common ground. Thank you, Byron and Margaret, for being our guests today. For Sydney and myself, it has been our pleasure being your host, and you have been listening to the Common Ground Podcast. God bless and good night.
And that's it for today's episode of the Common Ground Podcast. We hope you're leaving with a little more perspective, a little more purpose, and a whole lot more inspiration.
So thank you for joining us today. We appreciate it. Thank you to our special guest.
If today's conversation moved you, encouraged you, or challenged you in any way, don't keep it to yourself. Share it, rate it, leave us a review. Your support helps us reach more people who need to find their own common ground.
So for John Fletcher and Sydney Curtin,
we'll see you right here next week, same time, same place on the Common Ground Podcast.